Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. Trying to get my truck unhooked here. Oh, that's not good. There we go. Alright. So, before I get going with the barley harvest, I'm going to go ahead and get the pigs. So, yeah, I think I ended the last episode assuming I was just going to continue, but since this is all going to happen today, I'll just include the pigs here. I was confused. I'm like, where's my trailer? But that's right. I leave it parked next to the pig shed. So I'll be there in a bit. Alright, got myself connected. And you can see we've got two batches here. So this is our batch of 12. And then this will be our batch of 24. And then we've got another couple that are close together. But we'll get these over. So, yeah, it looks like the crampy trailer's parked. So it's been returned. And then, everything else is kind of ready to go. So the bidding on Field 8 is going on. There's actually appears to be maybe one other FM interested. As I said, I kind of want it for this purpose, so we'll see. We'll see how bidding goes and what I finally get it for. I'm pretty confident. I don't know. I may be at the point where I'll just bid something stupid for it just because having to drive around is not something I want to do after doing this for so many years, because it's just too easy, especially coming over here to this area, where otherwise, I could try to go around the edge of the field, but it's just going to be really tedious to do that. So we'll see how that goes. Usually the auctions last couple days. I think when I put my bid in, it said 1 hour, 1 day, 11 hours. But the thing is, like, every time someone bids, there's a little bit more time added, so it could drag out a bit. It's not like a eBay auction or something where, hey, it's going to end at 7 a.m. Oops. So, sorry. Alright, hopefully I can free myself here. I got distracted, looked at something else in my space here, not obviously on the screen, and lost track of where I was driving. So, good lesson for you young folks who, maybe if you aren't driving yet, that is why you do not take your eyes off the road and look at your phone and text and drive or any of that stuff. So, because I'm not even doing that. I just literally glanced away for a few seconds I guess I was reading something that had popped up on another screen, and suddenly I'm in a tree. So, let that be a lesson to all of you, young, old. Just don't do that. Focus on driving. So, it's my Farm Sim PSA announcement to the world. Alright, so it looks like the pile of potatoes is gone that was here, so whatever Rented did with it, they did with it. I'm assuming they sold it. It's possible they built a root cellar and started storing them, but that would be a pretty big leap. Because I don't think root cellars are inexpensive, and I suppose, again, if they're planning on doing something. Alright, so this is field 3, so it looks like it's been limed and, I'm not sure, plowed a couple times or planted a couple times, a couple rows. Do not know. what they were doing, because there's like splotches here and there too, so it's just a bit confusing. But it's their well, it will be their field. You're allowed to start working the field if you want to do that once you know you've won the auction, and I believe the auction is closed. You should wait until the auction is closed, because obviously, like our situation on 8, you may think you're the only one bidding, and then suddenly someone else says, nope, I'm interested too. And so you want to make sure you're the one getting it. But other than that, all right, so sell 28,000, sell 14. All right, so we've got our 2 that add up to whatever it is, the 43,200. So our normal purchase amount. So yeah, fall on the server here. Always a pretty time. I think this is, I think November actually is the last day of fall, so the few last green trees tomorrow would be fully changed over. But then I also think we'd have some trees that may already be dropping leaves, so this tends to be, I don't know, maybe it looks similar and all the trees are colored, but it looks pretty. It caught my attention and just reminded me why in real life I don't like living in California or Arizona or Florida, where you don't have 4 seasons. I enjoy things changing in the world and kind of seeing it, the passage of time and the fall colors and so forth. So in the farm sim game, I like that too. Just lets you know a year's winding down. Obviously, this is typically always harvest season, so it's the time we're going to get things off the field and do whatever we're doing with them. Again, right now, it's barley. We'll see what we get. Maybe I'll sell some crop off. I don't know. Or maybe this will turn into another year where we're just storing stuff so that I don't have to do anything on grains for a long, long time. Because I still have, I think, over 275,000 liters of wheat. And we'll have whatever we have in barley. But I'm imagining, per the feedback I got of why I planted barley, that someone said do this for pigs, because you're going to get a good return as far as the yield quantity. So that is what I'm doing. But right now, that gets you up to speed on the server, so I'll see you when I'm on the field. Alright, here we go. Barley harvest year 90. So half the reason I just jump over, aside from the time, is, you know, I do things that just are embarrassing, but then I tell you about them anyway, so I guess it doesn't save things a whole lot. You just don't have to witness them. Yeah, of course I forgot which field I needed to go to, so I connected up. Went down to the south end, and of course there's just stubble and weeds down there, and then I'm like, oh yeah, alright. So probably saved you 2 minutes of me running around, you know, plus of course I did the normal connect my header, then go to unfold my harvester, and unfolding my header again, and all that. So but at this point, we're harvesting. Just made sure I wasn't swathing, because I'm not looking to be baling as well. Because first off, I don't really have a good way to deal with that. That would require a bunch of equipment and storage building and so forth, and not at the point where I'm dying for income in some way. And even if I was, I'd need the time to be able to generate that income, and don't really have that. I've definitely been in a bit of a simming frenzy, I guess is how I would describe it. So I am feeling a lot more harried and just thankful that I have what I have on this farm and that I was able to take many days and just kind of avoid this farm. I mean, I was going to say this series, but I don't do this for just FS or for YouTube. I do the FSN stuff because I love the FSN stuff. But my point being, like, I had other things I was doing on The Sims that were for YouTube, but that also are just for my sanity. Because as I've told you, if I do too much of one thing, it's less enjoyable for me. It's not torturous or anything. I don't, it's still games and still fun and still leisure, and I can just do none of it if it's really torturing me. So it's not as if I feel like I'm trapped or something like that. So, I don't want to start having, first world YouTuber problems, which isn't that most YouTubers, although, I mean, obviously there's YouTubers from the third world that are showing other things that are certainly, again, a lot more challenging than anything we deal with. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I set my GPS line. I'm like, why is he not lining up somewhere? And that would be because he's not. So we'll see if I can just kind of figure out where I'm at here. But my guess is it'll line up pretty well. That's usually what it does. Or not. Yeah. Alright, we'll clean it up when I come back. Just the decision I'm going to make. I'm not going to dance around now, but this will obviously come out of the field before I'm full. But yeah, one pass across, almost 2/3. Now we're past 2/3 full, so does look like barley is abundantly yielding to some degree at least. So, alright, I think we've finally broken through the left wall of our barley, which is all a good thing. So the other thing, I was hesitating before and kind of like, yeah, that's all I have to tell you on the server before I stopped my pig trailer travels. But I did remember there was another thing nagging at the back of my mind. I just had forgotten about it. The server's still running ahead by quite a bit, by many hours. So just give you a point of reference. So it's earlier in the morning than the time shows at this point, and we'll just keep monitoring the server until it starts to get back into a normal time, and I have to worry about syncing it again. But came on here, and it won't be a problem unless suddenly we start getting rain and I can't finish my harvest or something because rain shows up. But right now everything is as perfect as it can be because I have one weather icon. It's that giant glorious ball of sun up there, and that's the best weather I can have for what I'm doing. So pretty excited about that. Whoops, not excited about the fact that I'm talking and I'm running through my crop again. I noticed it, but yet I didn't. I'm like, something feels off here. That's what feels off, is I should shut up and empty my harvester. Alright, so after I dropped things off, I had come back here and gotten myself connected in preparation for what I knew was coming. So I am good at planning that way. Like, yep, I'm going to need this trailer, so let me get selected so that I can do exactly what I did, jump in and go. Instead of having to jump in and tell you, hold on a bit while I connect. So yeah, the oversyncing of the server that happened for whatever reason is obviously something we're just heading through, and it shouldn't be, as I said, it shouldn't be a problem until it is. So hopefully it won't be, but at this pace, I don't know exactly when they were on sinking, but I think folks said it was like 6 hours ahead at one point. It's not that far ahead, so it is falling back, but we may be into year 91, which is March, before we have this back to the point where there's any sinking necessary. So who knows? So the one thing that will remain the forever unknown, because there's no real way to definitively test it, is keep in mind that on this field we did the spray for weeds before they even appear version, which in theory was also supposed to increase my yield by 15%. So, at the end we'll be able to kind of back into that, where, as I said, if I end up with, say, 345,000, we can speculate that, well, is 45,000 of that because of the 15% bump? Or would we have gotten something like that anyway? So, it's all these wondrous things that we can wonder about, but that really we don't need to. I don't want to go too far. It's just sloppy. It's not like it does anything to the field to have residue, but in case someone ever buys that field, I want to be aware. So no, it's good. I guess just talking about general opinions, feelings. It's my thoughts. Obviously, my thoughts are only useful to me. Others who hear them who disagree with my thoughts, you're welcome to do that, and think that I'm a nut. So, but on the one hand, it's exciting to me that we have some FMs that are expanding. But then, for my own personal play, like I feel I'm already at the limit, as I said, and so it's foreign to me too. Like, just, hey, fields are available, which is why, frankly, I'm a little surprised that there was any interest in Field 8, because right now the two FMs that are expanding like that, they're at the other end of the map, and as you guys saw when I was heading down to Field 30 just to help them, it takes a long time to get up here with equipment, and just like it took me a long time to get down there, so just reverse that. They're coming here. And yeah, this is a small field, so it might be one of those that if you planted something like barley on it, it might be one truckload, one Wilson trailer of 80,000 liters, and you'd have that field harvested. I don't know. And maybe that's the logic, is like, yeah, I got to bring stuff up, but it's not a big deal. But it's just not something that computes in my head. Like, I would never consider getting a field on the south end. I would just wait for something here, or just wouldn't expand. It's annoying enough to drive down there and do all that work of a movement of equipment that I just wouldn't even entertain the possibility. So it's just intriguing to me that others think differently, I suppose. So, and it's one of those that it's like, there may be folks who are like, hey, I'm just going to keep expanding. I'm going to keep owning more stuff. And if I own the entire map because nobody else is buying it, so be it. And, more power to them. My GPS is stuck again. There we go. All right. Because, yeah, I'm trying to... No, I can't pick up the header, so maybe my GPS wasn't as stuck as I thought. I thought it was happening because I couldn't pick up my header, but my header couldn't be picked up because I didn't have the header picked. Anyway, I'm going to clean this little piece up here. But that's, kind of what's popped in my head. But we'll see, as I said, and maybe there'll be less, it won't turn into a bidding war for Field 8, but if it does, that's why they let us bid, right? And there's probably a point where I'll be like, all right, if they really want it that bad, but right now I would certainly bid again, and probably go up a good amount just to try to be like, hey, I want to keep my path open. Because as you can see, if you look at those trees, I'd almost have to go north if I came off the road and didn't own that field and couldn't drive through it. And if I'm going to town, that's one thing. But right now, the only reason I go to town is to sell slurry. So traveling north doesn't happen a lot. And, leaving south, going down to the end of my field and out through the roads there. I'm further south than the FSN customs point. It's just a lot of reasons I enjoy the setup I have now and would prefer not to have that change. So, therefore, I'm willing to invest some money to keep that locked down. But it's possible. The FM, because usually we all kind of let each other know, yeah, I'm interested, I'm not interested, and then people kind of know if they're going to be dealing with additional bids. And typically what ends up happening is someone, people just kind of say, all right, fine, you have it. So I had let folks know, yes, I'm interested in it. And one person that had said something definitively said, okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm not, I guess I have to be more careful. I was paying attention, but my tracks still ran into it a little bit, so it's pretty tight and not really a lot of extra space, so I'll just need to stop earlier. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is significantly faster than we were doing with the wheat. So, but I'll be curious what we end up with here. But obviously at this point we're a full 36,000 because I've gotten 2 chock full harvesters. And we've really only gone down the field, not even 3 full times. And the field widens up a little bit. We've got a ways to go, so. So what else can I talk to you about? I'm not sure that there's anything, and probably trying to extend it and continue is just not terribly fun for either of us. So obviously I'm going to be on this field for a bit. I'm going to pray for good weather. I'm going to pray for the ability to have the actual time to do it, because I'm coming up on points and, maybe should be focusing on other things. But, I guess, so sorry. I do this all the time to you guys, and hopefully it's not irritating, where it's like he's signing off. It's kind of like that person who's on the phone who's like, bye, but wait, yeah, there's this thing, and oh, bye, but wait, there's this, and like you hear them say bye like 7 times and before they finally actually hang up. So that's me in Farming Simulator, or just talking on any of my sim videos. So when I was talking about that I'm happy that I had days off from the server here, if you're not following the other series as much or at all, what I was doing to fill in that time was going ahead. And so when I said I'm on a little bit of potential sim overload, or whatever the wording I used was, is the truck simulator has another version coming out, and we're in open beta on it. And so because of map changes and so forth that I then need to wait for every time a version changes, I typically like to have several episodes already ready to go. Just like I've told you here, I'm not intentionally doing anything in Farming Simulator because we don't have that same dynamic. Like, there's no Giants update that suddenly means I can't play for 2 weeks. I mean, unless something crashes. But there's nothing that we got to wait for the mods to be reconnected. But in Truck Simulator, we do have to wait for mods to be, in essence, reconnected to work with the updated version. And sometimes it seems like, from hearing what people post or reading what people post, is sometimes it's just going into some file and telling it, hey, this is the version you can work with. And I'm assuming that anything before that it would work with too, in theory. But so some modders will be able to update things very, very quickly, and some don't. And some type of mods, they don't need to update. So there are things like equipment mods. Well, no, in the truck simulators that's not true. Now I'm mixing like Farming Simulator, because there are sometimes cases here where in Farm Sim, for the equipment, people will have to do things, but most things usually don't break. But because of that, I've been trying to do like 4 or 5 episodes of each of Euro Truck and American Truck. And obviously that takes some time, both in just recording playing the game, recording the activity, editing it, and so forth. So I'm getting a little bit to the tail end of that, though I still have a couple things to do. I've got to get probably a couple more runs in American Truck Simulator before I'm comfortable, and then I can kind of fall back into those come out once every 8 days. And so if I am on doing a run once a week or about that, then I'm good. So in the past, it would have been common maybe, I'll do 2, and then, there's a little bit less pressure, and then if I have something crazy going on, or life, whatever it is, I can then step away without concern. But I've definitely felt more pressure in the last week and a half, certainly, to, alright, so I was somewhat intentionally doing that. It's hard to tell with the way they kind of bump around. Like, did I run into it? I don't think I did, but who knows. Alright, well, let me turn this way. So yeah, I've been pretty much, balls to the wall with every moment I can, trying to do something. And, some of it too was just I had started to fall behind on some of the other Farm Sim series I have, so I had to get episodes in there for that. So I've done the same thing, where for both the Survival series and the VIP series, I needed to get several episodes going so that I had some cushion there, and just filling out the schedule, because, as you might imagine, if you think of like, hey, I've got a calendar, and each day there's a video that I tend to put out per the schedule, and so, as I look at that calendar, I'm now at the point where I'm trying to figure out, okay, which, the next day with a hole, the next day where I haven't put an entry on the calendar, is this day, what's supposed to be there. And in a lot of cases, that's kind of what drives my production schedule. Like, hey, it's time for me to look at Train Sim because my next gap is Train Sim. And so there was that too. Like, I was doing, I think I did 8 or 9 Train Simulator videos as well, in a 2-day period or something. So it's just been a lot of simming. So, which is great. I mean, it's been fun, but there's still a little bit of pressure there, and you know, it's of my own creation. I'm not complaining. I'm just conversing with you guys and letting you know what the situation is and why I'm happy that I don't have the pressure of, whoops, I am hitting too many buttons. Now I have the pressure of my brain not functioning, because I suddenly panicked and realized my header was up in the air and I was too close to the crops. So, alright. Whew. Reset. Calm down. Breathe. So, yeah, like it or not, I think I've settled into this pattern right now on this field, is basically keep going across until I get to that corner up north at the edge of the river, and then I finally start going north-south. Where before, I think I basically went this way until I hit the island, but it just, for whatever reason, I've fallen into another way to do it. So, in the end, I don't know that it's going to matter. I don't know that you're even going to be able to see, because the tracks will disappear and so forth, just like they are starting to do over on the left side of the field. And, you know, you'll just see a harvested barley field. But I will get back to you, likely when I'm done, so we can see where we're at. And, you know, then we'll talk then. So I'll see you in a bit. I'm running up here the last segment of the field to be done. Should be able to fit this in the harvester without a problem. I don't even know that we're going to hit 16,000 liters. Alright, we'll go dump this in the truck. So at this point we have 400,000 liters in the silo, if I remember correctly, and we have what we have in the truck, which is nothing. So this amount, so we're basically a little over 400, just under 420,000. And as a point of reference, with wheat off this portion of the field, so we did grow wheat on 9A a couple times, and basically it was 367,000 or 368,000, so very even. Go ahead and unfold this, get that folded. Oops. Oh, have not taken the PTO off. I'm like, what is happening? But that would be what is happening. Alright. So now we're folded, we're unfolded on the header, and we're obviously detached from the header. So I can get this set up and put away. Alright. So, we need some fuel. There's not really a great way to do this. So what I'll probably do is repair and then just come in and go take the harvester to get fuel on its own, and then just get it back in place, because otherwise trying to maneuver this whole thing doesn't make a lot of sense. But our harvest is done. Clouds are coming in, so it worked out well as far as timing. So again, I determined I can just touch the workshop trigger, and I'm able to repair everything. So there we go, about $10,000 to repair the header and the harvester. Oops. get ourselves cleaned up, because obviously we've got a little bit of dirt every time we harvest. And then we'll get ourselves put away over there by the shed. I guess some might not call it a shed, but that's how it's sold. And while it doesn't have any walls or doors, it's a covering, and obviously it keeps snow off and things like that. Alright, it is cleaning, because you can see the side of the header itself is in good shape. It's just that toe arm was very strange. Alright, so we'll line up here, and this is kind of our normal, oops, flailing around here a bit. The wheel's getting a bit away from me. But if I get myself here, then I will disconnect, as I said. Yeah, I can't hop back in from there. I have to run up. I am hitting the E key trying to enter, and it's just not working. And this will take a bit of time to fill up here, because it's got a good-sized tank, and it doesn't fill super fast. Alright, I hopped out just about the time it was full and had about 9,300 liters in that tank, so we're still doing just fine. Oh, didn't turn quite enough to clear the tree branch there. Every once in a while I'm like, should I cut some of those lower branches down? But I think that just will create a bigger server burden to keep track of it, where right now it's just a tree, and then it's going to be a tree with these limbs still intact, and it's probably not worth it. Whoops. I got stuck a bit. I just wanted to pull forward. I tapped the gas pedal, but clearly the harvester rolled a lot more. Alright, so we're here on the truck. Apologize, I'm having difficulty talking without getting a frog in my throat, so it's involving me starting and stopping. And on the way to the silo, I'm going to go ahead and repair, just so that's done. We've got, 20%, 25% damage, so certainly at a point that I'll go ahead and repair. I had filled up the fuel in the tractor when I was delivering to the silo at some point in the middle of this, so we're in good shape with the fuel. Alright, so 573 for the front trailer, 573 for the back, makes sense, they're the same size, and then 6,500 for the tractor itself. Alright, so I'm gonna actually go out and swing around so that I can then just park after I'm done in the grass like I normally do. So I'll try to line up appropriately. We'll see how successful I am at doing that. Get the right trailer selected. And then we'll dump that here, and so we should have 415,946 liters or so. Sometimes it's usually off a liter one way or the other, depending on how it stows up. And then while I'm at it, probably going to go ahead and put my potato harvester back where it was. Just because, I don't know, because I liked it there better. It just seems in the wrong place here. I'm thinking it Might have been easy to pull in from the field or something. I don't know. Not sure why it got parked here, but in any event, it did. Maybe they had someone help them out, put things away. It does look pretty clean, so not bad. So no complaints from me there about the state of my equipment after it was borrowed. But there we go. So that's where we had it before, and then that just keeps that a little cleaner. But yes, 415,945 compared to about 368,000. So we got a little under 60,000 liters more in barley. Was it, how much of it was the fact that it's barley versus wheat? How much of it was the possible 15% bump we got for spraying the weeds early? Who knows? Doesn't really matter. The amount we have is the amount we have. So I've got one other activity. I am going to take my load of slurry and sell it because the pig slurry is full. So I did take a look at the pigs as I was harvesting, because again, I've got lots of time on my hands, so I do other things to keep my brain busy. I'm also trying very hard, even though I just did it there, to try to stop saying as much as I do on these videos. It's terrible. Some of it has to do, I think, because I'm just talking for so long, and it's a stream of consciousness, and it may be replacing ums with and, or so. There may be other things, but trying to just remove filler words. But I then ask for some patience for folks. I don't have my line connected. That pause was not to avoid a filler word. It was, again, to get rid of the frog in my throat. But I'm trying to make it a little more listenable, hopefully, by eliminating the words that would be crutch words to just fill space. And what that then means is there will be space. I still have to breathe. I still am thinking about what I'm going to say at times. But I'm letting everyone know that in all the various series as I think of it, just so people understand why the pauses are there and not filled with things that they were filled with in the past when I wasn't trying to really focus on that. I'm usually a decent public speaker in general for work and things like that, so I know I can focus on it, and I know I usually have it controlled. It's just I think I've let my guard down here a lot more. Well, than I really should have, frankly. It's just a poor way of delivering a message. So you'll get more of that over time, and hopefully then it'll just become second nature to not be throwing all those in on these videos. But because a lot of time it's a stream of consciousness, and it's just a conversation, and probably in a conversation I'm worse in doing that, probably just like anybody. That was dangerous. That's not good either, because now I'm pretty full and I have no momentum going up this hill. So be prepared for a really, really slow climb. I think it would get down to this rate anyway, but now this is going to be even worse. Wow. We can make it. We know we can, but this is the challenge we have with 50,000 liters of slurry in this tank. It obviously is heavy. I'm just trying to turn the wheel a bit to get the vehicle headed to where I know that bridge is, which is over there somewhere. Ooh, 3, 4, I think we've crested. Yep. Alright, so now we'll be good. Now we will make it. But my attempt to do that and remove those words is just to hopefully make the videos and the episodes more enjoyable to watch and less a festival of filler words. And as opposed to talking over things with words that aren't telling you anything, there may just be more quiet time where you get to hear a little bit of the game in the background. I hope that proves more enjoyable than what's been happening in the past. And I also want to be aware that I do always think of, are these things enjoyable for my audience? Even though I get feedback once in a while, but certainly I'm not large enough to get substantial amounts of feedback. I do want to thank everybody, though. I have been very remiss in saying that anywhere, and I do need to keep that top of mind for a while. I do want to thank everybody for getting me over 500 subscribers. That happened probably a few weeks ago, because at this point I've never really been getting subscribers very quickly, but there was a short period of time where YouTube was telling me I was on a pace of over 100 a month. This is the road. I always forget. I don't want to make too sharp of a turn. I already slid once. But I'm below that at this point, so I'm coming up on, I think, 540. I was over 530 the last few days, and I kept reminding myself I need to bring this up and let people know I'm very thankful, because especially in this series that is so far ahead, so many months ahead, as I've talked about before, I'm about 2 months from the time I'm recording this till when you're going to see it. So by then, Lord willing, I'll be over 1,000 subscribers. That would be awesome. But I don't know that I would go that quickly. That would by far be faster growth than I've ever seen on the channel. Because to do that, I'd in essence have to get 250 subscribers a month, and I wish I could come up with something that would be super exciting and would get all kinds of people to come by and not just view but to join. But the Sims are what the Sims are, so people either like them or they don't. So that's part of the determination of the audience. And then compared to everything else out there, just like any other piece, if someone's happy with some of the other longer-term YouTubers, they're likely not looking for someone else. They're content hanging out with a good friend that they've known for years in some cases. So I understand that. I appreciate that. I'm hoping the people that are subscribing here will be the same. That years and years from now, they'll still be here, still enjoying content, and we'll be growing as a community together. I'm certainly not, and I don't necessarily anticipate really changing that focus. I'm not chasing subscribers per se, but there's certainly some pride to some degree of, hey, more people are finding me interesting enough to subscribe and hopefully hit the button as well to get announcements when something new is posted so that they know. Even though at this point I think my 7 a.m. Eastern time every day has been going on for so many months that I think people understand when things happen. But there are things that come off cycle. If I do a map review, if the mods worth noting kind of show up on Fridays or Saturdays when they're done, and edited and posted. But map reviews, other things, there's certainly off-cycle things that will appear. And so not only subscribing, but also making sure you're set up for notifications will just make sure that anything new that I place out there you're aware of, and if it's something you think you'd enjoy taking a peek at, you have that opportunity. I do try to put everything in playlists so that if there are certain types of things you enjoy, if you subscribe to the playlist, I try to make it a point literally all the time to not just put anything out there that's an orphan. And even if I need to create a new playlist for something, I will do so. The most likely thing that will happen with soon, or first, I should say, I don't know that it'll be soon because it's still going to be well over 12 videos, is once I finish the Mariah's Pass series on Train Simulator, then I'll either start another series or do something, and that will obviously then require a new playlist for that. Alright. So I always run really far away from my vehicles, as if I'm worried they're, like I didn't set the parking brake and they're going to run me down before I say goodbye. So I don't know why. It's just a habit, just like the crutch words were a habit. So trying to change some habits. But going back to that, just wrapping up, any feedback. I mean, if there is something, a different thing you'd like, different way you'd like, suggestions you have, things I can change, I'll certainly try. I've certainly had people talk about, my voice, whatever. I mean, my voice is my voice. Hopefully it's enjoyable to folks. I've been told by lots of people that it is, but I get it's not the same cup of tea for everyone. Beat of a different drummer and all that. So, thank you for spending your time here on this episode, and I will see you next time.